What's up? I'm Drew Paul Bell, and in this video, I want to talk to you about learning computer programs. We have a question from our friend Adam Energy. What we're going to talk about is number one, can you learn Revit on your own? Yeah. Here's how I would go about doing it. I would recommend that you jump in and start learning Revit or ArchiCAD with the project that you're on right now. Throw yourself into the fire and learn it that way. I think that that's the best way to learn because you have stakes. You have to figure it out. I learned a few programs like over the summer, but there was stuff like Illustrator or InDesign or Photoshop, and it was like much less intensive than learning these BIM softwares. I think if you kind of have to be able to figure it out, you kind of have to make yourself figure it out, because otherwise it's real easy to just not watch the tutorials today. And you have to I think it's best to have a goal that you're going towards, and that's designing your building. Okay, now in the design process of this, if you're in school, then this may become challenging because you're obviously learning two things. You're figuring out the building, number one, you're learning what your design is, and you're having to learn the program itself. But this is a challenge that is worth going through. And by the way, here's what else is going to happen. If and when you come out at the end with a bad project, your professors are probably going to blame the computer and say, this is the problem with Revit, this is the problem with ArchiCAD, is that they just do all this stuff. Listen, there's a lot of problems that come along with learning programs. One of which is you're taking a bunch of stuff that's kind of in the computer. You're taking the stair tool, the floor tool, the wall tool, and you're assembling all these things together. And it is easy to make this become kind of like a little Frankenstein, right? Because you're taking all this stuff that's already there and putting it into one coherent building, or a supposedly coherent building. It's natural that that's going to be it might come out looking like a Frankenstein. There's a lot of decisions that are already made about what, like the default settings are going to kind of show up, and then you're going to be like, well, why did you do it like that, is what they're going to ask. And then you're going to say, well, that was the default thing, and then they're going to berate you because you didn't make conscious decisions. That can't happen when you're drawing things, because when you're drawing stuff, you decide on every line that goes down on that page when you're hand drawing something. That's not true for using the computer. So that challenge comes out, and what gets blamed is the computer gets blamed. And I think that's a kind of an ignorant way of looking at the whole process. I think that, yeah, that's an issue you have to deal with, but deal with it and figure out how to use these computer programs when you're in school. Take the risk, it's okay, and guess what? It's better to get chewed out by a teacher at the end of the semester than imagine the awkwardness of not getting a job after you've graduated. And learning this program won't guarantee that you have a job, but it sure will make it a lot easier to move into an office. So that's kind of how I recommend that. What else did you ask? You asked without having any AutoCAD background. That's fine. I don't think you need any kind of AutoCAD background to learn BIM. I don't think that knowing AutoCAD or not knowing AutoCAD is a crutch moving into learning BIM. Which way do you think is the best for me to learn Revit? Yeah, so like I said, pick the project that you're working on. Do that. If you've somehow already graduated college and you're not working on a project right now and you're trying to find a job, and in the meantime you're also trying to learn a program, then go model the old, try to just recreate your project from college, one that you've already made in Revit or ArchiCAD or whatever kind of BIM software you're trying to learn. And then when you get stuck, consult the forums, consult YouTube videos, and watch those tutorials. What's going to happen is you're going to run into a problem, and then you're going to go look up the solution, and then you're going to find 3 other solutions that are not what you were looking for, but you will have learned those 2 or 3 other things. And so you're going to be able to kind of keep that in your back pocket, and then next time when you run into that problem, you're going to already know the solution to that. And by the way, this stuff is going to help you become kind of dangerous with the program, but you're not going to be a pro at it until you're working in a profession and you're working with other professionals who are using this program day in and day out. The only people who I think really understand a program are the professionals who use it day in and day out, and they're using it every work hour of the day, right? You as a student, you're spending your hours in studio, but then you also have a lot of time that you're spending on your other classes, and it's something that you're kind of doing on the side, part-time probably at most. And even if you are putting full-time in at school and you're doing this and you are doing full-time on the program, you don't have those years and years of backed up knowledge about it. So you might be solidifying your way of doing things, which is inefficient, right? Because you haven't gotten any proper feedback from like a professional on it. So I really believe, all of this is just to say that don't expect to know it 100% when you graduate college. I was actually speaking to somebody I was at some like networking event, bumped into somebody who happened to be a recruiter. He told me that he was like, he will ask students on a scale of 1 to 10, how good do you think you are in Revit or ArchiCAD or whatever? And he said these students at this one college in Atlanta will say, oh, they're like a 9. They're like a 9 or a 10. And meanwhile, he's like, well, that's interesting because like I definitely talk to professionals who've been doing this for 10 years. They say that they're a 7 out of 10. So I'd be interested to know how you're a 9 out of 10. I think a lot of students, when they live in the little bubble of school, they would think that they're a 9 or 10 compared to everyone else around them. But as I've said before, when you get out of college and you get into the profession, what happens is you have to adjust kind of skill levels, okay? What happens is the similar kind of adjustment that like an NFL player has to go through when they transition from college football to professional football, which is now they're playing with everybody who is stronger and faster than everybody who they've been playing with before. So in school, you might be a 9 or a 10 out of everybody at your school, but once you get into the profession, you're going to find people who have been working on this every single day, and they're going to know this a lot faster and a lot better than you are. So that's going to be where you're going to learn. That's really going to be where you become fluent, like super fluent in these programs. But if you're trying to learn just kind of enough to get dangerous, enough to hit the ground running when you get into that environment, I recommend that you look up YouTube videos and forum results as you were trying to learn by actually making a project in that program. So thanks for your question. I hope this helps you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will talk to you next time.